and they drove up to what was known as the Hill at a spanking pace, passing the pleasant residences of Singapore's wealthy merchants, each with its well-kept luxuriant garden and wide expanse of lawn. Government House stood at the summit of Flagstaff Hill. It was a rambling, commodious edifice, with a magnificent view of town and harbour, and uniformed sentries on guard outside. The governor was waiting in his office, and Mark Adamson introduced Red to him. With him was the commanding officer of the 14th Regiment, Colonel Pooley, and both Red saw looked grave and worried, as if the news they were about to impart to him was anything but good. "India, Commander Broom," Governor Blundell announced grimly, "is in the grip of anarchy. Most of the native sepoy regiments of the Bengal Army have broken out in mutiny. In Meerut, after some disaffection concerned with a new issue of greased cartridges, all 3 sepoy regiments turned on the Europeans, cut down their officers, and murdered white women and children in what appears to have been an orgy of slaughter and arson. The British regiments stationed there were heavily outnumbered and, due, it is rumoured, to the ineptitude of the general officer in command, the mutineers were permitted to march on Delhi. There they were, joined by the native garrison, and similar ghastly scenes of carnage took place. The surviving British civil and military officers and their families were compelled to flee for their lives, leaving the mutineers in possession of both the city and the fort. It is understood that they have proclaimed the last of the Mughals, the Shah Bahadur, as emperor, and—" He glanced at Colonel Pooley and added somberly, "As may be imagined, Commander, British prestige in India has suffered disastrously, and the Governor-General, Lord Canning, has made an urgent appeal for troops to be sent to his aid." Red heard him with a sick sensation in the pit of his stomach, his first panic thought of his sister Jenny, who, with her husband William Delancey, must by this time have reached the station in the recently annexed kingdom of Oudh, where William's new command was garrisoned. What had been the name of the place? He frowned, trying to recollect the address Jenny had given him, written on a scrap of paper, which he had stowed with his personal journal in his cabin on board the Galah. Pirpur? Sitapur? Ranpur? It was something like that. An outstation some 50 or 60 miles from Lucknow, the capital of Oudh, William had said. Pooley was enlarging on the military situation, talking with equal gravity of the British troops presently quartered throughout the province of Bengal and in its capital city, Calcutta. "India has been drained of white troops. They have had to be sent to China, to Burma and Persia, and to the Afghan border. There are barely 40,000 in the whole of India, Commander Broom, and about 5,000 British officers serving with the East India Company's native regiments." He shook his head in a despairing gesture. "The sepoys in the 3 presidency armies in Madras, Bengal and Bombay number in excess of 300,000, with the bulk of the artillery in their hands. As yet it appears that only the Bengal army has mutinied, which narrows the odds to a certain extent, provided the Madras and Bombay armies remain loyal. But you will understand, I am sure, the extreme urgency of the Governor-General's request for more British troops." Red inclined his head, still conscious of his own fears on Jenny's account. She had not wanted to go to India, he recalled, but she had gone, because Will Delancey had expected it of her, and because she loved him. Lucknow was in Bengal, Will's regiment a company regiment of Oudh irregular cavalry, and Lord Elgin, the new plenipotentiary to China, left here 2 days ago for Hong Kong on board Her Majesty's ship Shannon, the governor said. Before leaving, he instructed me to hold troops bound for China, pending their redirection to Calcutta. The troopships Himalaya and Simoon, with the 5th and 90th regiments on board, have already been so redirected. Only the troops you were ordered to pick up here and convey to Hong Kong have proceeded to their original destination. Lord Elgin took them with him on board the Shannon, which, as I mentioned, left here 2 days ago. However, before he departed, his lordship confided to me that he ultimately expected to go to